Everything is sanded, and I've done a test clamping, which you should always do before you assemble, and it looks good. This clamp is holding down the top onto basically the bridge plate, the ridge we left in the neck to support the bridge. All of the glue will be on the outside. Alright, moment of truth, we're going to start gluing. So we're going to place glue anywhere where the top is going to make contact. Which of these nubs left from on the neck, the edges of the box, the spot that's going to support the bridge. Just making sure I got enough glue. I don't want it to run out too much. Way. Put tape on the wrong side. There we go. Top is in place. Now the tricky part is to get all the clamps in place without the top sliding around too much. Get the rest of these clamps installed, and then we'll wait for the glue to dry. I have a chicken head knob for the volume. Now the sides are too thick for the potentiometer to pass through, so I'm going to have to cut out a recess. Ordinarily I do it from the inside, but when I put the box together I wasn't sure where the controls were going to be. So the control and the jack are going to be in the back of the ukulele, so I'm going to cut a recess in the front, in the outside back edge. I've set a Forstner bit and I've set a depth stop so we don't go through, and hopefully that will be enough. I'm going to change out the Forstner bit to match the jack, the washer on the jack, just a little bit larger than that, and that will go right next to the control. Alright, now for the jack I need a 3/8 inch hole, and for the potentiometer I need a 5/16. So I'll get those bits loaded, we'll drill a hole at the center point, and then we'll be ready to test out the fit. Okay, we have the 5/16 hole drill. Now we're going to drill the 3/8 for the jack. Alright, we just got to see how they fit. So here they are, test fit, looking good. I'm not going to install the electronics till after the finish is applied. The back we're going to end up screwing on because if I ever need to get at the electronics I don't want to glue them tight in place. So we're just going to do some final sanding and finishing. We got it marked up, done a test clamp. All we got left to do now is apply a little bit of glue. When that dries, we'll apply some finish. I've sanded, the bridge is glued on, we're ready for finish, and what we're using for a finish is a gun stock finish, and Koa is a porous wood. If you're using a regular film finish, you would need to fill the grain, but because True Oil is a gun stock finish, as you build up the finish, it fills the grain. Now this will take quite a few coats to build, But the first coat we're going to start on the back. I have wiped the piece down with mineral spirits to take off the sanding dust. I'm just applying the true oil with a cloth. We're up to the third coat of true oil. You can see it's starting to build up very nicely. We're getting some nice spots where the grain is filling in and starting to get a little bit shiny. So I am pouring just a little bit on, rubbing it in. I've taken the cover and drilled the holes, and then I've countersunk them for the screw head. And now I've gone and I've marked the location of all the screw holes on the ukulele, and now I will drill those out. I've drilled all the pilot holes for the screws, and now I'm going to use a gimbal to pre-thread the holes. These brass screws are very delicate, so the gimbal will make them go in a lot easier without stripping out, hopefully. So the electronics for this are very simple. It's 2 piezo elements, which I've applied double stick tape, and then we have a volume control and a jack. So the piezo elements are going to go either side and just behind the bridge. And so the elements are in place. Okay, the electronics are completely installed. Everything's tightened down. The chicken head knob is on. We just need to now take the back cover and screw it into place using the brass screws. I'll get these in, and then it's off to the saddle and the nut. We've got to install the tuners, and the first thing I need to do is to press them into place. So I've got them partially fitted, the bushings. Now I'll take it over to the drill press, where I've chucked a wooden dowel in to press them the rest of the way. Now that they're pressed in, we'll just install the tuners, screw them into place, and we're ready to do the nut and the saddle. Okay, I've pre-drilled the first hole. I'm just going to put a little beeswax on the screw to help it go in. Don't want to strip these screws out. You also don't want to drill through the headstock, and these screws go almost all the way into the headstock, so this is going to be an adventure. Okay, we got the first one. Do the other 3, and then we'll work on the saddle and the nut. So I've got the saddle. I'm going to put a 16-inch radius on it, so I've got my 16-inch radius sanding block and 120 grit paper. And I'm just going to go right across the top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make pencil mark right across. When the pencil mark disappears, I know I'm close. check it with a radius guide. 16 inches. So now what I'll do is I'll just round over the backside, polish it up a bit, and that's ready, and then we'll just focus on the nut. I've cut the nut to width, and now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to sand the radius into it, but then we've got to figure out the height. So I did make a mark on the nut of where this is even with the first fret. So I've got to come down a little bit more so that I have enough room to slot it and have clearance. So I've polished this up. Now I'm going to set the string spacing using a string spacing ruler. I'm going to take a razor saw and just start the notches. Give my file something to grab onto. Okay. The bass string on a ukulele is actually smaller than the third string. So it's 0.22. So we'll start that. Next one is 3/4. So we have. All right. Now that we've got our slot started, we'll get this cleaned up and get ready to string it up. Okay. I put some lemon oil on the fingerboard. I've tied off the G string. And get that brought up and tuned. I'll work on getting the other strings on, getting it tuned, and then setting the spacing down here at the saddle. I didn't want to put any notches in until I had the strings on so I can see where they fall. So here we are, it's all strung up. It's not quite tuned. I'm going to let the strings stretch out a little bit. I'll get it tuned up, and then I'll test the electronics and play it. But this project is done.